Hello, friends. Amongst all the skills that we learn as parents, the art of parenting is the most difficult art that we learn as parents. And it takes a lot of years and a lot of time to master that art. So, to talk on this topic, to teach us the art of parenting, we have Sister B.K. Shaifali with us, who's going to give us concrete suggestions to make the bond between parents and child strong. Let's welcome her. So, Sister Shifali, the first question that concerns every parent is how do we emotionally connect with the child and how do we spend quality time with them?
Okay. So when we say that we want to emotionally connect, it should always be clear that we don't have to pretend to the child that we are very much emotionally involved. Because usually when we try too much, it might become very intimidating for the child. So emotional connection is something that should be very natural. We all do have that emotional connection. We just need to prioritize on how much time we are actually giving them at a mental level also. Like physically, though we all know we have busy schedules, we are busy with the work, then children are going to school. But if actually inside of the heart that emotional connection is there, we don't have to prove to the child that I am connected to you. The child already knows that. I've seen so many parents which are busy, but still children they understand that parents are busy, but they know that parents are concerned about them also. But at the same time, parents might be busy and children might think that maybe parents don't care about me. So I think it is very natural. If that connect is there inside, you're actually concerned about the child. There is no concern of whether the child will know or not know. It is very natural. If you are concerned, the child understands.
As parents, we always like to think that we are the ideal parents, or we always strive to be the textbook definition of being the ideal parents to our kids. So, how do we make the child understand that his parents or her parents are the ideal set of parents that the child has?
So every parent does the best for the child in any way that they can. So if I talk in terms of psychology, there are four kinds of types of parenting. Okay, the first one is the authoritative parenting, in which there is only one way communication. The parent is laying down the rules and disciplines, and he's not ready to change or adjust according to the child's needs or the environment. He just dictates whatever is wanted or whatever is expected out of the child. So that we call it is the authoritative parenting. And then we have a neglectful parenting, where maybe intentionally, maybe due to circumstances, maybe the parent is so much involved in his own problems that the child feels neglected, or probably he's not spending that much of time and that much of concern in the activities of the child, that the child feels neglected. He's not concerned what he's doing, he's not doing. So that is neglectful parenting. And then there is permissive parenting, where you give too much permissions and too much of freedom to the child. Do whatever you want. We are there because I think that is because of our attachment to the child. We don't want to spoil the relationship with the child. So we keep on giving them everything they want. Because we want that my child should not stop loving me. So in that, I keep allowing the child everything that it wants. So then it turns into this permissive parenting. The best parenting in psychological terms is called the authoritarian parenting, where there is a two-way communication. You understand the needs of the child also, and on the other hand, you know where you have to draw the line also. The instructions are clear for the child, what he has to do, what he's not allowed to do. Yet we are ready to be flexible. We are ready to accommodate according to whatever situation that might come in front of the child. They might some rules and regulations that applied a few years back might not apply now. Some things that were comfortable for our childhood might not be applicable now. So we give a little freedom, but under our observation. We are observing them, yet we give them a little freedom, or maybe a sense of responsibility, where they feel that they are taking the decisions. We give them options and they feel that we are taking the decisions. But actually, giving them options, we are drawing the line that this is the boundary which we cannot cross. So So that is the authoritarian style of parenting, where there is a two-way communication between the child and the parent.
In a scenario when the parents have two very distinct styles of parenting, like maybe the father is very authoritative and the mother is more relaxed, how's the child deciphering the entire scenario?
I think even if one parent is authoritarian, it has a nice impact to the child, because the problem arises when one parent is authoritative and the other parent is permissive. One is trying to be strict on everything, and the other parent is trying to give all the freedom. Then there is a conflict, and the child misuses that. You will say something else to one parent, say something else to the other parent, because he's getting the freedom this side and he's getting strict vibes from this side. So he might pretend to be on that side, and in front of the strict parent, he might showcase his different kind of behavior. So that is more difficult. But otherwise, even if one parent starts being the authoritarian parent, it is not a very difficult thing. The other parent, we might just talk it out with the partner, how we are going to go along while handling our children.
So, any kind of parenting style, the bottom line is effective communication. So, are there any set of boundaries or rules that parents should implement to have very effective or healthy communication with their child?
I think we should treat children as miniature adults. No, we must know that they have a world inside them, as we all have a world inside our head, where we know that we are the bosses and we know how to do things. Similarly, children inside, in their own life, in their own circumstances, they feel that they are the master of their own worlds. So we need to respect the viewpoints of the child as we want our viewpoints to be respected. If we, while communicating, sometimes some parents would just pretend to listen, and would just nod their head very quickly, and then start speaking what they want to say. They'll tell the child, okay, you speak something. As soon as the child starts something, and after listening to one or two things, they'll say, okay, okay, now I'll tell you what has to be done. So we did not pay respect to the viewpoints or the thoughts that the child was trying to portray, because we are totally convinced that what we say and what we know is right, which may be perfectly true. It may be true that you are totally right, but the child, according to his own intelligence and experience, he is right in his own way. So we need to respect them as individuals. If we consider them as people lower than us, who don't know anything and I know everything, then the communication is not communication. It is just one-way dictation, that I'll tell you what has to be done, you don't know anything. We have to respect their viewpoints, even if we know that they have a limited experience, and something that they might be telling, we know it is too kiddish or it is too childish, but for them, they are telling them with a lot of confidence, and they are very happy about what they are doing. So we need to understand them. We first need to appreciate them for whatever viewpoint they are keeping, and slowly tell them, what if we do this thing this way? Well, I think this thing this way could be better. What do you think? We just try to take out the solution from their own mouth. And once they speak this, that yes, I think your idea is better, then our problem is solved. But if I try to dictate, you don't know, I know, you listen to me, I have told you many times, this telling and dictating doesn't work at today's time, that doesn't work at all. So we need to be respectful of the viewpoints of our child. Respect them as individuals.
With every generation, kids are becoming smarter. So, according to you, what do you think? How are they perceiving the entire situation? So, our times, we were told to just leave the room. Now, here, kids are more manipulative, they are smarter. So, is it the right way? Do we tell them to leave the room, or do we tell them that the reality is such? So, should we make them aware of the reality?
I think when we make them part of our conversations and our problems, they are able to learn better. They should know that life is not all full better or a bed of roses, or everything is not very smooth for everybody. Everybody has their own share of mistakes also, and many kind of success also. So we just need to tell them maybe the whole thing if we do not want to tell them, because sometimes if it is related to our family members, and sometimes the disputes are usually related to some or the other family member. So if we keep telling them each and everything, which usually happens in Indian families, children usually get to know, and then they also start disrespecting that family member. Supposedly, it is regarding some grandparents or maybe brother-in-law, sister-in-law, anything. There might be disputes between brothers also, between sisters also, between grandparents and parents also. It is very normal. But then, whenever we tell them what is going on, we must tell them that it is okay. We do respect them. We are not going to disrespect them. It is just that Mama and Papa are not able to agree to some things, but we do respect what they are telling. So in this manner, we are sowing the seeds in them, that once they also grow up, they will also try to understand when we are old and we are also having different viewpoints in them, because that generation gap is always going to be there. Now, if we ask ourselves, our parents must be telling us that we were better than you, and grandparents must be telling to the parents that we were better than you. So every generation in the current times has a little less tolerance power. They are a little more sensitive. Every generation, if you notice. So we just need to accept the change. It is as it is. We cannot try and keep on blaming them that they are not what we were, because we were also not what our parents were. So it's okay. It's okay. Let them be what they are, and we will try and empower them as much as we can. And whenever we share any kind of family disputes with them, we must make sure that we help them respect all the family members, even if we have different kind of viewpoints. Even if I have a lot of aggression towards a particular family member, let me not sow the seeds of that aggression or that envy or that jealousy inside the child also, because then it is going to continue with the cousins also. Because usually in families, then the cousins will grow up and we ask them, why don't you talk to that cousin? Oh, they did something to my mother, they did something to my father. That seems to not be there. Otherwise, they were happy with each other. They were not having disputes with themselves. It is just because we had a dispute, our children are also having that dispute. So we must help them understand that it is okay. If you are having a good relationship with that person, you may continue. We want to stay a little silent with that person. Let me take some time to grow in this relationship. You must talk and you must stay respectful. That is the thing that we want with our children, because as they grow, we would expect the same thing from them also when we have disputes with them. That is very natural.
And what about times when parents are having conflicts with each other? There are arguments, at times the situation is volatile too. So, what is the right way to that time to handle the kid?
I think we must try and make sure that whenever we know we have to raise an issue where we know that our partner is not going to agree with us or there is going to be some disagreement, let us not talk at a place where we know children are going to interfere. We might tell them the conflict in a summary that there is something going on later on to the children so that they know something happened. But if they witness us going violent or using some abusive language and things like that, we're definitely going to have a negative impact on them, because parents for children are like gods. As they are kids, they consider that my parents are my heroes and my parents are the best. But once they see their heroes using some abusive language or being disrespectful towards each other or being violent with each other, then it has a very negative impact on the child. So we must try not to talk or about anything that might be disruptive between us in front of the child. Let us not try and talk in front of them.
So, talking about temper, according to you, what is the best way to handle the child without getting angry?
Okay. So we get angry when we impose things on our child. We have to understand that every child is different. Every child has a different capacity and every child has his own dreams. So we get angry only when we want to force something upon the child. Why is he not agreeing to what I am telling him? Why is he not doing what I am telling him to do? So if we try to force things upon the child, definitely we will lead to some anger issues. But as I said earlier also, let us just respect them for whatever viewpoints they are keeping. Telling some things strictly is different from getting angry. If I tell something in a very strict manner that this is very wrong, because in case of younger kids, when they cannot understand certain issues, we cannot let them do what they are doing, because what they are doing might not be good for them or for people around them. So if we just let them do whatever they want to do, then it might not be good for other people or maybe for us. So at that time, we just need to strictly tell them that this is not allowed. but we will not raise our voice or use any kind of words that might be very harmful for the child. Anger means even after the conversation is ended, I'm still thinking about how can he do that? How could he do that? My child is doing that. This is anger. And being strict is, I know he doesn't understand certain things. It's okay. In time, he will understand. But for now, it is required that I should just tell him some things firmly and strictly. When we have that firmness in our eyes and we just tell them strictly in 1 or 2 sentences, our work is done. But if we try to keep very loud and speak too much, that does not have any effect on the child. सुनने वाला एक बार में भी सुन लेगा. Otherwise, some children may take a little time. It's okay. Some people might listen very early. Some children might take a little time. It is okay. Let us just respect the speed of each and every child.
One thing we are observing is the lack of empathy. So as we are progressing, we are noticing that there is lack of empathy towards fellow people, pets, towards even the environment. So how do we inculcate the nature of empathy in kids?
I think portraying through our own behavior. Children learn the best when they can observe the behavior. There have been many studies also where it has been visible that when children observe certain behavior, they learn better. So we have to be the examples for them. We have to be the idols for them in portraying that empathy. We might relate to them incidents also where someone was empathetic towards someone and how good it was and how much bliss it gives you. When we tell them that you have to be successful, just tell them that successful does not always mean that you're successful and you have a lot of money and you have a lot of fame. Being successful also involves that you are empathetic towards other people who are not as powerful or as lucky as you were. So we can portray them through our own examples and telling them stories of people who were very nicer to other people, and they will understand. The best is I be the example for my child.
Sister Shipali, those are amazing suggestions, and they are going to help us a lot as parents. They are practical, they can be implemented, like in our way we deal with our kids. So, thank you so much for joining us, and hope to have more webinars, more sessions, more conversations with you in future over different topics. Thank you so much. Thank you all for joining us. See you all next week on Super Saturdays, Parenting and Beyond, where we deal with yet another topic that concerns all of us parents. Thank you so much.